What is going on, people out there? It's Press Play again, and we're here to discuss motherfucking F9. And I'm starting out with intensity so that everybody knows how intense this movie is. Actually, intense probably isn't the best word for this movie.
Intense is a word. I feel like
I guess it's something you could be using for it. I don't know. But either way, I'm Bailey.
Pandemonium.
Joining me, as always, is Matt Austin and Omar Zaki, the boys themselves.
What's up, guys?
Family, not friends.
We made it. That's right. Oh God, this is falling.
That's where we're at with this. We're here to discuss F9, to review it, to discuss it, whatever you want to call it. It was a ride, and I mean that in every pun way possible.
And somehow not the last ride. Somehow
not even
there's
close
more.
to the last ride. I guarantee you, because so they're saying that there's going to be F10, right?
Yes, I believe that is
Is there an F11 as well?
No, so F10 apparently is going to be split into two, is what I heard.
2 parts.
Yes.
Yep. You're right.
So, however,
So
how are they
two
going to
parts.
name them? We don't know. But there will be 11 movies for us to
What if
enjoy
it's,
one day.
I had the stupidest name just pop in my head. I'm like, what if it's F10 Fender is the first one, F10 Fender, and then F10 Bender, like Fender Bender?
It's not that funny because I could see it happen. That's the fucking problem.
It's not funny because it could be real.
dumb
They might do
would
that.
be?
I like
If
Fast
they did
10
that, I would get
Furious.
fucking paid for it.
Just
Yeah, I
keep
actually
it
like that
simple.
too.
Fast 10
Fast 10
Furious.
Furious.
Done.
Fast
I like
10 Furious.
Hire me.
I think that's corny too, though.
It is corny, but it's perfect.
Like,
Yeah.
this is F9, the Fast Saga.
That's
right?
the worst name for any fucking movie I've ever heard.
Well,
I'm
it's
sorry.
also-
No, it's not.
it's-
Get out of here.
It makes no sense, dude.
It makes no sense because it's,
It's
not
not
like
the
a,
last one.
Yeah, it's not the
like
last one, and it sounds like it's encompassing the whole thing. Like it,
Well, that's
it. It makes no
I
sense.
didn't realize that was the title the first time they said that. I thought it was like they're just calling this the Fast Saga now, but no, they're just
that's
calling
the
the ninth
thing.
one the Fast Saga.
Makes no sense.
It makes no sense that
Wild.
they wouldn't do that for the last movie, first of all. And then
Yeah.
second, like, just because you have characters from a bunch of the other movies does not make it like the culmination of all the movies into one, you know? So I'm shitting on this
It's
for
on
no
its way,
reason. I
though.
enjoyed the hell out of this movie. I just gave it away. But either way, before we get to that, and before I get to ask everybody what they thought about this movie, I'm going to tell you, you can listen to us on Spotify, Breaker, Google Podcasts, Pocket Casts, Radio Public, and Apple Podcasts. And leave us 5 stars, especially if you agree with everything we say in this review. Because if you do, then you probably want to listen to us forever.
Then you can be our best
you can-
friends.
Yeah.
We'll get
You can
along
also
great.
follow us on social media on Twitter @Again Press and Instagram @Press Play Again. We're going to be posting like when we're going to be doing stuff, when we post episodes at all the places I just named. You'll find all that out if you follow us on social media. So just do that. Make your life a lot easier. And then we'll also on Mondays, we're always posting our Bad Batch episodes. We're still reviewing that. Still going through all 16 episodes of this.
That
We're not
still
giving up on
exists.
you guys. I promise. And then Wednesday nights, posting Loki. We only got 3 episodes left. I'm really
Fucking wild.
freaking pumped for it. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So, of that stuff, the boring stuff, you know.
Let's get to the cinema, guys.
I do want to
The
get to
meat-
the cinema because our papa down there literally just watched it today. So
I did a
it's
few
the
hours
freshest in his mind.
ago. What a fucking experience. Just let me tell you guys, I'm taking my time, right? I'm at the gym, which is like a minute away. I'm taking my time. It's like 11:53. I'm strolling to my car. By the way, I started wearing my wife's Apple Watch, so I've been parking like extra far, just to count those steps. And just fucking Hurricane Katrina's outside happening. My shoes get completely drenched. I'm sitting in the movie theater for the next 2 hours. Smells like fucking
No, that
Oh.
sucks.
God knows what. Oh, it was horrible.
That
I was
sucks,
freezing. I was completely wet. It was the worst fucking experience.
Oh,
But yeah, let's talk
man.
about the movie. Let's do it.
You literally didn't you text us and we're like, I'm sitting in the middle of 2 couples right now.
Oh, the 2 couples were not sitting in their seats, by the way. Both couples had to move at 2 different times. And the people that came that the seats actually belonged to, one of them makes like a comment, goes like, I'm like, obviously didn't want to pay for this, so they just snuck in. It was so fucking
Like-
awkward, dude.
Like the snooty little comment.
Yeah. I was like, you're onto something here, buddy. Like, okay.
So it was
Yeah,
packed, and
anyways.
these people still didn't sit in their seats.
They didn't have tickets for Dolby. They just came and
Oh.
sat. Yeah. Dude, they end up
Fucking
moving, going other
thieves.
places, and then they had to move again. Yeah, no, dude, it was This is the most packed I've had it in a room since
COVID,
I'm not
right?
even sure. Yeah, honestly, probably
Yeah.
so. Yeah,
Wow,
like in the
and
longest
That's
while,
on
it was
a
packed.
on a Sunday in the middle of the day. That's actually really impressive.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this movie's doing really good, which I didn't realize. I know we actually have to talk about the movie, but I didn't realize this came out in other countries like a month ago. So it's already done really well
Whoa,
financially.
what?
Yeah, it's been
Yeah.
out
I did
in
not
like
know that.
China and I think Japan and other places across the world for
That's fucking crazy.
at least a month. It's already made
Wow.
300 million. Like
What?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
As of like Friday,
That's
I think
awesome,
it had
man.
already
That's
made that.
fucking
So
awesome.
that was
Yeah.
it's made way
That's
more
cool.
because that's not counting everything it made this week. But
Yeah, of course, of course. That's awesome, man. I did not know that.
yeah, good for the Fast
So-
Saga.
A saga it is.
This freaking saga. Other than your experience with the actual movie theater itself, Omar, tell me what you thought of this movie.
Okay. What did I think about this movie? Ooh, loaded question. A lot to unpack here. But actually, I wrote a couple things down. I'm gonna just let you guys know what I didn't really enjoy, and then what I enjoyed. It's very precise, and then obviously we could talk about it once we have the actual conversation. I feel like had I not seen this trailer,
Mhm.
had I not seen the trailer or known anything, I would have walked out this movie thinking, you know what, it was a good like 7.5, 8 out of 10. The trailer ruined two main things. Obviously, the Han reveal, which could have been a lot more epic,
Yes.
and then the fact that Jacob is the brother, right?
For sure.
Jacob's character to me, and I love John Cena, but to me, the character fell so fucking flat, man. I enjoyed absolutely nothing when it came to that character. Once again, I think the biggest thing for him would have been the reveal. I'm not sure if maybe I'm the only one that saw this, or maybe I'm just like overthinking it. But it seemed like, especially towards the end, they were kind of trying to force that brother relationship, in a sense, to maybe replace Brian's character. You know, because like Dom needs that brother relationship type of thing, and he hasn't had it since F7. I don't know if that's what they're going for. I really hope not, because I did not enjoy that. I thought the character was fun, and I thought he could have fucking kicked ass. Like I thought he could just be so badass. And like I said, when everything was over with, it just kind of fell flat for me. That's really about it when it came to the things I didn't enjoy. Besides that, I mean, super predictable movie. You knew what you were going in to watch, but I
kidding?
enjoyed that. I mean, at this point, you know what you're gonna get out of a fast-paced movie.
You know what you signed up for.
I mean, the ending, I expected it. I loved all the flashbacks. I thought, dude, the couple sitting next to me, every time a flashback scene happened, oh, here we go again. I thought it really played well to the movie. I did. And
I did too.
there's just certain scenes I enjoyed more than others. And the flashbacks that I thought were very important to like, okay, now we know why Dom is the way he is, you know? Like, we knew why he was the way he is, but now we really fucking understand it. My two favorite things, though. My two favorite parts, and I got choked up both times. The Paul Walker nods, man. When they say
Great.
there's no safer place for the kids to be than in his hands. And then at the end, when the skyline fucking drives up, once again, the same couple. Who's in the car? Is that Shaw? Have you not watched the fucking movie?
Is that
Omar's
Shaw?
face.
Someone literally goes like, "Is that Shaw?"
Is that the Shaw
Yeah, I was
brothers?
like- yeah, dude. When I saw that skyline, man, I got choked up because obviously that's Brian's character. So
Now tell me, 'cause
I love that they did that.
You
What?
watched all the trailers, right? Because you were kind of mentioning that earlier.
Unfortunately.
Okay,
Yeah.
because I didn't see I don't think the second trailer, and I really didn't remember the first one. Yesterday, I happened to just be looking up like cars from this movie, and there was an article from like a month ago that was showing cars in the movie, and it had that screenshot of the skyline, and the description was, it was like, this is obviously going to be an appearance or like just a nod to Paul Walker, but we'll have to
Oh,
wait
I
till the
did not
movie to
see
see
that
what it
at
is.
all.
So.
Yeah.
Because in my mind, I was like, that sucks if they gave that away in the trailer too. Because I'm right
I
with
did not
you where
see
I was
that at
like,
all.
they
No, I
gave
didn't catch
everything away in
Yeah.
this movie. Like the trailer showed everything.
I mean,
like,
unless
now
they
that
didn't,
we've
I
sat
missed it.
and
But no, I didn't see
maybe
it.
they
I didn't
flashed
see
to it really fast. But
Maybe,
Yeah.
yeah.
'Cause I agree,
I
that'd
super
be a lame
enjoyed that.
thing to
I
have
did not see that happening. And when they look over at the seat and like he's on his way, I was like, oh, that's awesome. You know, that's a nod. I did not expect to see the fucking skyline action.
Me neither.
Oh, man.
I
was,
know. Great.
I was
So
choked up,
good.
man.
I can say I was very happy that it didn't, after you see it pull up, then pan to the window
Of
of the
course.
car and then
Of course.
see a CGI version
Right.
of Paul Walker.
Yeah,
I would have
they did not
hated
need
that.
to do that.
it's like the
Right.
same
No,
effect
so
they
I'm-
used in F7. They just like
I'm glad.
paste
No,
this
I'm glad
back.
they didn't do that.
Yeah.
Like what they did was not only enough, but it was perfect. And honestly, those two moments were some of my favorite moments in the entire saga. The Fast Saga. But yeah, that's
I
it. That's all I
agree.
have to say for now.
Okay. Matt, what do you think of the movie?
Yeah, so I got a lot of similar things as Omar. Like we're talking about the trailer. I think it sucks to me that they showed so much in the trailers. Correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't the first trailer like 4 minutes long? It was a massive first trailer. They did not need to do that. I mean, all the stuff with the magnets, all the way down to them showing the car rocketing off into space. Like we knew all this was going to happen. It was like a 99% chance, unless they were going somewhere else. We're like, they're going up. Where to?
Our
Probably
friend Patrick would be so happy right now hearing y'all shit on like trailers.
He would.
So
Patrick probably enjoyed the fuck out of this movie because he does not watch.
Because he doesn't want right. He wouldn't have seen any of it beforehand. So aside, kind of putting that aside and like expectations for it, since a lot of that was already kind of shown to us. I mean, I really really love this movie. I didn't have the same problem with John Cena. I actually really liked his character. Almost the flip side of it, I'm surprised because I think they made his character very very likable, at least to me, to the point where I was almost surprised what they did with Dom in this, because I feel like this kind of like this is a huge thing that he kind of like turned his back on his brother for like decades. And I get that by the end of it, it was just kind of like a misunderstanding of him not really like getting that, like, you know, his dad asked him to do that and all this stuff. But like that's a huge thing for that character who's so into family to have had a brother this whole time that he would have never told anybody about. But it's Fast and Furious, so I'm not going to get hung up on that. The movie, the action, all of that was great. It was exactly what you'd want. It somehow topped the last movie. Every movie continues to get wilder, weirder. I cannot believe they actually went to space. I can't believe we saw that. I wish more of them would have gone to space, but also it was great. Like I don't know, Tyrese and Ludacris being in space was just the best. So
I love those two characters, man.
Yeah, they're
so
great.
Fucking entertaining.
And I know Bailey's going to talk a little bit about this because she loved them in this movie, but I thought their like chemistry was, I mean, it's always been great, but they're just on point. Yeah. One other thing I want to nitpick before we talk about everything, though, I feel like, and I don't know if y'all noticed this too, it's been a long time now since like Vin Diesel / Dom has like interacted with a lot of this cast, like to the way they used to, because in 8, obviously he goes rogue, so it kind of makes sense that he's not really like most of the movie, he's not really with them. But in this movie, it feels like he barely talks to like Ludacris and Tyrese and all of them. Like he has a couple lines at the very beginning, but if you think about it, in this movie, they don't really like interact that much. And so much of that kind of like chemistry and like sense of family was in all that stuff. Where if you go back and watch like 5 and 6 and 7, they're all talking to each other throughout all this stuff. And I feel like in this movie, like he's just preoccupied. Obviously, he's more kind of doing stuff with you know, Mia, and I guess he's got all the stuff with John Cena, his brother. But I feel like that was lacking in this movie, and I kind of noticed that watching it. I was like, it kind of just is a little bit less fun. Like the movie was incredible. I had a blast watching it, but I feel like that camaraderie wasn't there as much as it is in the earlier movies, and that kind of let me down. I hope in 10 it's more of a group effort and not all these like splintered off stories. But I still loved it. Thought it was great. Great movie.
I agree with the good things y'all are saying. However, I think I loved this movie more than you. And maybe that's because I went into it with the lowest expectations possible.
That does help.
I was just like, this is gonna be. I was expecting it to be worse than 8 because I was like, they should have stopped. Like this franchise should have been done by now. Like, there's no need to have 10 movies /11 because they're cutting the last one in half. Like, I think it should have stopped. However, when I watched this movie, I was like, I can't fucking wait for 10. I love this. I think this is fantastic. I think they were so unbelievably self-aware of how ridiculous they are in this movie. And I think that's what made it 10 times better for me. Like, they were making jokes about what is such a joke in these movies, like how everybody's invincible and everybody, like, there's no scratches on anyone ever, and like they just are lucky all the time and like somehow manage to survive. Like Roman literally is getting shot at from above in every direction possible by machine guns, and they somehow only hit the bulletproof vest. And it's like, they do jokes like that throughout the movie that I think just really humor-wise hit really well for me, because I was like, this is ridiculous and I love it. The one thing I will nitpick, I agree about John Cena. I think the character was kind of fell flat too, but I think it's mostly because the villain storyline in this movie was poop. Like, the whole idea... Well, it's more just like the whole idea of this rich guy wanting to steal this
Yeah.
device so that he can control everything. I'm like, they're going too big.
What was
like,
that dude's what was his name? I don't even know his fucking name.
I don't
Like he
know.
was
Wasn't
the
it
most
Luke
forgettable.
Skywalker? Or...
Can we talk about how like that was the
Luke
worst part of the movie too?
He was
that just
Yoda.
minute of
I
Star
hated
Wars
that part.
jokes.
I was
Like
cringing, dude.
I
I was
didn't think a
cringing.
single one of those hit. I thought all of those were terrible. Like
I
I thought
honestly,
they were onto something at first when he's describing himself as Luke Skywalker, and then I thought maybe she's gonna take it to a more serious note and be like, "No, you're more like the Vader of the story," or something like that. But then she keeps going with it, and she's like, "No, you're Yoda. You know, you've got
Yeah.
someone's hand." Like, not
yeah,
funny.
His name was Otto in it.
Otto.
Mm.
Okay, now it rings a bell. Yeah, he
But
sucked.
it was one. I actually, oddly enough, I thought he was funny.
He was
I felt
funny.
Like
He just
I thought
as
the
a
jokes
villain.
were funny. But what I'm saying is like the storyline for the villains.
Yeah.
It's just it was too extreme.
It
like
was.
what
He was-
Jacob's really trying to just like control the world. Like I don't just to get back at his brother. Like I don't understand that.
Yeah, it didn't seem like it fit at all. I was like, okay, is this really what's
That's
going
the
on
thing.
here?
I think so too. Here's the thing. Once again, I love John Cena, man, and that was one of the most exciting things I was expecting in this movie, even just from the trailers, was his character. But all the flashbacks, the two Jacobs just didn't really add up. It's like, okay, here's a rogue John Cena that's just like bad as shit, right? Like he's like he's wild. But then you get this Jacob that seems like a wuss and like has no idea what the hell he's doing, and just like. There's a big gap in between. There's a big gap. And
Yeah.
I mean, I understand, yeah, he's gone through a lot, whatever, to reach that point. But it just, I don't know. That part in the flashbacks kind of threw me off.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't connect as well, I think.
Well, and like the height difference didn't connect as well either. Because for some reason they got someone who was like looked like he was like 5'6" to play John Cena.
Well, I think it's because
It was
it's
like a whole foot shorter than who played.
Well, because he's
Dom.
supposed to be like it's his younger brother, whatever. So I mean, I understand that part.
I
But
guess you
what I
just
didn't
expect
understand,
them to only be like a year apart. So it was,
I don't know.
it was
Did you
a
guys
lot.
notice though, like Dom and John Cena's character Jacob at certain scenes, they seem the same height. Other scenes you could definitely tell they weren't.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
Y'all
yeah.
notice that?
Well, if you
There's
look
some
at
weird
the end
movie
of the
magic
movie,
going on.
Yeah.
If you look at the end of the movie, there's like a scene where Dom is standing holding his son's hand at the end
Yeah.
on the racetrack. He has Timberlands, and the heel, I'm not kidding, is
Oh,
this thick.
God.
It's like
Oh,
it's like
God.
2.5 inches thick for a heel on Timberlands, and I was like, that's
I did not
not
notice it.
that's not normal.
I did want to say one thing before we actually like jump in.
Okay.
My like one other complaint about this movie, up until 8, I honest to God felt like every single movie we've seen, including 6, including 5, could have been the last one in the franchise.
Yeah.
To where it could have ended.
Mhm.
9, was way off. I did not feel like that at all. Like when the movie ended, I was like, you know what? I am very excited for the next one, but also because I don't feel like this really satisfied me to where, okay, the franchise can end here.
Yeah.
Even though I enjoyed this one a lot. Like I enjoyed it more than 6 and 8. I really did. I loved the action. I loved a lot of things about it, but just how it ends and how the story wraps up, like you can't end the franchise here. And I'm sure they did that on purpose to make people want 10 and to help us like accept that, hey, we're getting another 2 parts. So
Well, they did. They somehow made another team up movie because we already got the team up movie. What was it for 7?
What do you mean by
what
team up?
Yeah.
Like when they come all together, when he's like, we got to get a team together.
Well, they've done that in like
no,
all
that
of
happens
them.
in 5.
I
mean,
thought that
the-
happened in 7.
It does,
Like when
but
you,
it
when
happens.
we get like Giselle for the first time and Giselle and Han meet and stuff
Well, that
like
was
that.
in-
You know
that
what
was
I'm
in
talking about?
5.
No, that's not 7.
That was
That's
in 5?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Well, because
I'm like-
really by 7, Giselle's already dead, and Han's only in the beginning
Oh,
when they show the
right.
Tokyo Drift
You're
flashback.
right.
But
I'm mixing up 5 and 7 then. But
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Like they just did another team up movie. You get what I mean?
Yeah, for
like they
sure.
brought the whole team back together again. So, which I'm fine with. But now that they brought the whole team back together and Cypher with her dumbass haircut is still flying around there. I'm sorry. I don't mean to shit on her haircut. If people have that haircut out there, it probably looks great on you. But it's just
not
one
on
of those things where
Charlize
I'm like,
Theron.
they're trying to make her all quirky and smart, and I'm like, just let her have like. I'm sure she just wants normal hair. Like, come on.
Her hair didn't bother me, but
It didn't bother me that much either. I just don't like her as a character, so I want
Dude,
to
she's
shit
gone
on her.
through a lot, man.
Yeah.
My Jade was telling me, like, dude, she's gone through a lot in life, man. Like her mom
Oh,
fucking
Charlize
killed her
Theron?
dad, and
wow.
You're talking about
Wild
actual
shit.
Charlize Theron,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
I know. No,
Like,
she
dude,
and
a lot
she
of
went through
abuse and
crazy
shit.
shit.
Yeah,
She
so I mean,
also-
hey, if she wants to have that fucking haircut,
I
just
don't
let her.
mean it. It's not.
Jesus.
You
That's
heard it
not
here
her
first.
real
Bailey hates
hair.
it. No, for sure.
That's a wig.
It's also easy. Like in the last movie, she didn't bother me as much, but in this one, I just feel like she feels pointless, and she kind of just gains control at the end of the movie. And there's so many other villains going on. And we got the guy Otto we're talking about, and then you've got John Cena that's like teetering that line. It feels like too much. But this is the movie that can be too much. You know what I mean? This is the franchise that can do that. So
there was a lot of characters that were added in that were they just there to be filler to explain something else happening.
Yeah.
Two characters that were not in there, and I'm very curious to see how much you guys missed them because I thought Hobbs and Shaw, man.
Yeah, I think both of
were
them
very much missed.
The movie,
when you
it could have used both of them. Not to cut you off, but like it could use both of them. But like real quick, The Rock is who I felt missed the most in this. Like
I mean,
without The Rock,
since Fast 5, man.
Exactly, and so I got this weird kind of void that you're right. Like ever since 5, these movies have been so good, and I still think this movie's great, and I love it just as much as any of the recent ones. But I feel like he is severely missed in this movie. Like you feel moments of it feeling back like 4, and you know you don't have Brian anymore. Like Paul Walker's not in this. It's like they need everybody. They need firing on all cylinders at all time. And I'm sure The Rock's going to be in 10. I'm sure everybody's going to be together for that. Thank God.
I think it's confirmed already. Yeah.
Yeah, I think if they had a couple movies without him, and Jason Statham for that matter, I think that could really that
was the
hurt
thing
it.
when we walked out of the theater. One of the first things I said was, "Man, I kind of like really miss The Rock because he was so great when I was rewatching. Like I rewatched 7 right before I skipped 8. I guess I was like, I don't have time for this shit, but." With him in that movie, just when he does like the small parts he does in that movie, I'm like, oh, he's just so charming. There's something about his charm that like adds to these kind of movies. And I think it's like deeply missed because Vin Diesel, although great at the character he's playing, doesn't have that
really
same
good actor,
effect.
by the way.
Do y'all like the faces he kept making?
He made a lot of faces.
Do you know what I'm talking about? When people were talking to him and he was just like,
yeah.
His mouth was like that the whole time.
We got to be careful. We're going to turn into a pod. Vin Diesel's going to hear this podcast and he's going to like come out to get us. You know what I'm saying? He also seemed like he was comparing himself to God a couple of times in this movie. I'm curious if y'all picked up on that. Yeah, at the beginning he's telling his son like, God's always in your heart, son. And then he's like, I'm always in your heart.
I didn't take that as himself comparing himself to
Sure,
God.
but then at the end of the movie, when he's standing in the garage, all I'm saying is they had some light shining right on this man's head in a way that aurored him. God. And I was like, you know, they've done crazy shit. They could be going that way. So I will say,
I need to get us off of the bashing this because I know all of us really enjoyed this movie.
That's the thing.
But we keep nitpicking the smaller things. We need to talk about the beginning because I really enjoyed the whole like Tony Stark-esque vibe they did where he's like in a cabin with his family in the middle of nowhere, like just trying to live and raise his son, like living happily. And then they do that whole scene where they're like, you remember what we taught you, right? And his son like runs and gets in a freaking bunker and he just like loads a shotgun. I was like, this is a way to start this movie. I loved it. I thought that was awesome.
And I will say, like, for all the kind of like this plot is so nonsensical and convoluted, but they answer just about everything you could want them to answer, like with satisfying answers, because like it makes sense that Dom would get pulled out of this life of retirement, for his, you know, brother that he disowned forever ago, but also when you get that kind of gist of like, I don't want to see my son have to hide in a box every time we think somebody's driving up, like all that makes sense. Like they always have good reasons to be like, why would this happy family go and start doing jobs again?
Wait, was it him that said that, or was it what's her face?
Letty.
Yeah, I think it was her when she was talking to the sister.
Yeah, it was. But I mean, like, it just makes sense that this family would, you know, like be like risking their lives again, even though their lives are not at risk. But you know what I'm saying? It's I like that all the reasonings are there to where you're not wondering like, why would they do that? It's like in this universe, everything they do makes sense, which is great.
Well, so like this movie, I think accomplished so. Plot wise, it blew just because. Again, I think I in a sense, and just hear me out.
I agree.
I think it's just because of what the villains were trying to accomplish. If it was if it was something on a smaller scale, like this villain hired this person, hired Cypher to track down Dom and all of them because he like they ruined something for them back in the day. Like just something as simple as that. It doesn't need to be we are taking over every weapon in the world. And we control and could kill anyone. Like it just didn't need to be on that level, I feel.
So I completely agree with what you're saying. And I just expect the plot to be like that now because it's always some kind of government device that has been created that they need to get to so they can save it. But yeah, I think this movie had it the most convoluted of where the actual villains using this thing, like John Cena's involvement, to me didn't like that was a line that was kind of hard to follow where I was like, I don't really get why he's so wrapped up in this. And then the device itself is just so like cookie cutter, like 2 parts and then there's a key and oh, shocker, the key is a girl, which at least they tied that to Han a little bit. Which we need to talk about Han and the explanation and stuff behind that.
But so like that was I'm adding on to this. This is like the perfect example of like they kept using people like plot lines to involve people that they needed because like they needed Mr. Nobody, right? That's his name. They needed to involve him somehow. So how do they involve him? Because they have to involve him because they have to involve him with Han. So they need to connect him to this device and get the message sent to the group because they're apparently the only ones who can save the world. Like they have essentially become actual superheroes.
Who else would you trust? I mean, it's true. They are just
not a single person. They are the luckiest crew in the world.
And the character of Mr. Nobody is honestly kind of genius for this universe because he can basically anything they need to retcon. He is the answer to it. Any death. And because think about it. So like to get into the stuff with Han now, we don't really know how he like we get what happened, like some magic trick basically.
I've got a theory.
But they don't have to actually show us anything besides just be like Mr. Nobody made it happen, made it look good. And it's like we accept that.
Say your theory, Omar.
Yeah, I am curious.
This is the franchise that has unexplainable things happen, has over the top things happen, and I think we're gonna start getting into cloning here. Okay, because no, hear me out. So Han, when when they zoom in on his face and he's like the car's flipped over and everything, he's got fucking scratches and blood all over him, right? But then when you go back to Mr. Nobody and Han's standing right next to him, literally right behind the wall where they're fucking looking at the car, not a scratch, no single drop of blood, nothing.
Doesn't seem. Absolutely you're right. It doesn't seem like it was the same person in that car.
Dude, no way.
No way.
Absolutely not.
Also, how do you get out of there and up to him that fast?
And then wiped his fucking blood? No, sir. Clones.
Yeah.
That's my theory.
That's I think you're watching too much Star Wars. Maybe. I think you're starting to, and then they talk about it in this movie, so it doesn't help.
Oh, they do.
Just, like,
it would honestly be a genius explanation too, because obviously since Tokyo Drift was made a long time ago, everyone looks a lot younger in it, and that doesn't make sense canonically. But if it's a clone of Han, it'd be like, okay, he's an imperfect clone. He actually looks younger, or you know what I mean? Like he doesn't look exactly like him. That would kind of add to that. But
I'll tell you what, though. Regardless of if the Han stuff got spoiled because of the trailer, the reveal of him in this movie was so cool. Like him just being a sniper.
Yeah, but the trailer took away from it.
I know, and it did
big time.
It took away from it, but I still
it's still an awesome reveal.
Part. Like, I still love that part.
But I agree.
After the Han reveal, like I was enjoying the movie. It was all right, but after the Han reveal and everything after that point. Honestly, for me, just amplified, man. I loved his involvement with everything, and just
because really think about it, like these movies you compare now to Infinity War and stuff like that. So on the same level, we go into Infinity War and Endgame knowing jack shit. I mean, those movies hide everything from you. This movie had a lot of big reveals, like Han being in it, and I mean, obviously we knew about it, but you know what I mean? Like if they hid that from us, if they hid, like Omar said earlier on, about John Cena actually being his brother, if stuff like that was shit that we went into and it was actually twists, I think that would have given this movie a lot more like... The biggest strength this movie has is the set pieces and how crazy and insane they are, and they're so much fun to watch. But I think if the like story beats had a little bit more like surprise twists and drama, I think the whole movie would have been higher up for me.
Well, yeah, because we can almost... already assume no one is going to die, and if they do die, they are going to be brought back to life. So I just think,
except for Gal Gadot for some reason,
except for Gal Gadot.
Well, actually, I really want to talk about something you brought up earlier. The whole running joke with Roman and
Tej.
Hedge.
Tej.
Tej. Yeah. So I thought it was enjoyable. They're very like, they're very charming, whatever. They're funny, the comedic relief. But I thought it'd be very rewarding to at the end actually for that whole like thing that they had happen to actually lead somewhere to where one of the characters ends up dying. I mean, I know it's a bit like too much or
It's a
whatever.
bit dark for
but-
Fast and Furious, Omar.
I get that, but I mean, for it to keep going throughout the whole movie, I mean, every time they were attacked or anything, they literally bring it up, right? And at the end, I really thought one of those characters was gonna go, and for that not to happen, I was a bit let down.
I see what you're saying because
I would have
us
loved it.
being people who love cinema and love movies, it
Mhm.
makes sense because you're like, oh, I'm gonna have
right,
like
give me the
real
drama.
feelings.
Yeah,
Exactly, but that is not what these movies are. They
I
are
know.
literally like,
I realize it.
we are gonna just do a bunch of crazy shit. No one's gonna die. We're gonna always have the comedic relief no matter what. Because I agree with you, but at the same time, I cannot picture the next movie without either Tej or Roman. Like, I
Yep.
can't.
Oh, for sure. No, I agree. I know.
And especially since they
Bring
don't
him
have
back.
the Rock,
Bring him back
it's
to
like
life. Just kill him.
you need you need like some sort of charisma. You know what I mean? And
I agree.
Vin Diesel doesn't have it. Like,
Yeah, and that's why this
Get outta
movie
here.
felt a bit off without The Rock.
yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
Let's be honest.
And I love
Yeah.
Vin, and I think Vin. I love old Vinny. I think he plays his specific type of character as well as it could ever be played, and it can only be played by Vin Diesel.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean he's charming. Like that just
Wow.
means he is
Jeez.
Dom.
Yeah,
He-
I don't think
he
his character is
believes
really
he's
supposed to be
dumb.
right. Yeah, I don't think his character is supposed to be like the charming one
Yeah,
in the
no.
movie or anything like that. So yeah, it's not like he needs to even try. I think he's
No.
got a certain character that I mean, look, this movie worked well too because, and I'm gonna bring this back to when we talked about Tokyo Drift. Just like all the other fast movies in the saga, whatever, besides Tokyo Drift, this movie still had what we love about Fast and Furious, right? It still had heart and it still had that family aspect.
For sure.
Even though a few instances maybe felt a bit forced. Once again, with John Cena's character, it's like you don't really feel much connection to him, and then you get all these
Yeah.
flashbacks, and you kind of get like, okay, you know what? Like, I understand, and yeah, like he is a family man at the end of the day. I mean, this is what these movies are. So I mean, I do like how they tried connecting things, but just some things
I
like
get what
felt
you're
flat
saying.
or like felt forced or just
Definitely
not,
forced.
I don't know.
mean,
I don't know. Yeah.
I felt more sorry for young John Cena or young Jacob. I felt sorrier for him than I did for John Cena's character. Like I didn't feel like I was connected to like emotionally to Jacob.
the funny thing is, so I feel like out of all of us, I'm the highest on John Cena's character in this, where I actually related to him. But like y'all talking about that reminds me that about midway through the movie when they
Yes.
actually have him locked up.
Yes.
And Dom's hugging. Who's Dom's hugging? But they pan
Han,
onto his,
dude.
Yeah, he's hugging Han, and they pan onto his into John Cena, and I
Dude.
fucking laughed. I laughed. I feel
silly,
bad for
man. It
laughing
was silly.
because I actually did sympathize with his character, but that just plays into what y'all are saying that maybe that wasn't
Exactly.
always nailed 100%.
It wasn't. And I get what they were trying to do. Like they were trying to show like all he wanted was a hug from his brother. But it's like, and then like he just sees him hugging Han and you're supposed to be like, huh,
Yeah.
I wanted a hug. I'm kidding, that's not how he would have sounded. But speaking of that scene though, y'all remember when Vin Diesel just literally turns into Bane? And
Yeah, that was
starts
incredible.
I was
breaking
breaking backs, dude.
starts breaking backs and then taking an entire like building down with him just barehanded. Like,
Fucking, I was
what
waiting
the
for a
hell?
moment like that.
Yeah, that
I
was one of the
adored it.
strongest parts for me for sure. I thought that was insane, and then you got like really touching moments after that when he's kind of going into
Yeah.
the water and
Yeah.
reminiscing about his past life.
Yeah, I actually love that part. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that all was very cool. Like
It was. It
that
was
whole
insane.
scene where he just literally becomes a superhero.
He's a killer, man. It was brutal.
I
It was
dig
pretty
that. It's something that I think this franchise does really well where it's like how do we make normal people seem like they can have superpowers without actually having superpowers? That's what these movies do. Like they convince us that we could take two chains and bring down a roof.
And
Do y'all think I could?
I did not
Because
feel like that at all.
I
I'll
believe
be
I
honest.
can now.
I was thinking
don't
about
believe
like
that
all
Bailey
those
could do
fucking
that?
cracking. Oh, absolutely not. I've seen it throw a football, buddy. No, yeah, I don't know. I just the entire time I was watching, I'm sure you guys felt the same way too, since we all watched the movies recently. It's crazy to fucking think how far this franchise has come from the first two movies even. And then we're here at this point where not only are they working for the government, they're the best aspect of the government.
They're
Like,
who the government wants.
The go-to.
It's not about like
what?
work for us so you can get like amnesty or whatever anymore. It's like,
Right, like they
what
need
do you
them.
want? We just come work for us again, you know?
How crazy is that, dude?
Oh my
Yeah.
god, that
And we
reminds me.
accept
When you
it.
said
It's cool.
when you said the
100%.
amnesty part, the scene with Helen Mirren, where Vin Diesel
Loved
just
it.
gets in her car. I loved all that shit. It made me miss the Shaw brothers. I was like,
Dude, yes,
God, like I
yes.
want them in
I
this.
know.
Like,
Something I really want to talk about.
yeah, go ahead.
Not only the Shaw brothers, but that credit, after scene credit.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes.
We have to talk about it. First of all, when does that take place? Right? Because we see Han. I'm assuming that's the first time Han and Shaw
It has to be.
after Shaw thinks he killed him, right?
Right.
I guess
So-
I never thought about it being in a different time.
Well, so I assume that I think it must just happen after 9 and before whatever we see next. But my bigger question is, do y'all think that's setting up 10 or do y'all think that's setting up Hobbs and Shaw that's got Han in it? Like next Hobbs and Shaw movie?
I would absolutely love that, but I thought they said they're not making another Hobbs and Shaw. Or am I mistaken?
Well,
I
see,
thought they
I don't
said
know
those
either
two
way,
characters-
but somebody else,
Okay.
either Angelo or our friend Tyler, one of them was saying they were making another one.
I don't want it to be another Hobbs and Shaw. I think that's a waste of time. I think it should just all be like they should just all be in 10, right? Like the end of the franchise.
I
Shouldn't they just
do
all
not
be
agree with
together?
that at all.
You
I think
don't?
Hobbs and Shaw. No, dude, Hobbs and Shaw was fucking awesome. Those two characters are
I'm not saying
amazing.
it wasn't. I just think like, well, then if they're gonna take and build on that universe, then what are they gonna do with 10? Like,
I mean, no, they could still do a lot with 10. And I'm gonna bring this back to a point Matthew actually made. I don't want 10 to feel how this felt in terms of like Dom not interacting with as many characters because we have to throw so many characters in. So I don't mind if they don't throw every fucking person we've seen so far from the franchise in the last one. Instead, maybe save some of those characters for Hobbs and Shaw, like a sequel or something like that.
So
I'd much
think-
rather go that route.
I think that I think they'll probably make a Hobbs and Shaw too.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they're gonna. It sounds like they want to focus on F10 and F11 first. Like get the actual core
I'm sure
franchise
they
done,
do.
and then I think
Yeah.
after that is when it's gonna be like, okay, these movies made a shit ton of money. How do we keep making them? Then it'll be like, all right, give us the sequel to Hobbs and Shaw.
tell you
So
what, though,
I think that it's setting up 10, but
that scene where he's just punching the shit out of a punching
That
bag
was,
that has a
dude,
person in it
crazy.
made me love him even more. I'm like, God, Jason Statham is like one of the coolest human beings. Like,
I mean, dude,
I
this
just want him in
franchise,
every
like,
action movie.
We've got him. We've got The Rock. We've got John Cena. We've got like so many fucking like just.
It's
blows my mind, man.
Heavy hitters.
it is.
Yeah,
It's,
it blows my
what's that movie with all the big buff Hollywood
Expendables?
actors? Yes, the Expendables. It's that,
Expendables.
but different. But it
No, but
is
better.
Yeah, better for sure. I mean, I'm more into it, but
Yeah.
but it is. There's so many just top A-list
Speaking
actors in
of-
this. It's just so much fun.
Speaking of top A-list, let's talk about the Tokyo Drift cast.
Perfect segue there.
Is that guy on fucking crack? Is he?
I know because when we
No,
saw him,
I
when we
think
saw him in
he's just,
7,
like, older.
when we saw him
and-
in 7, he looked older. Obviously, he's from Tokyo Drift, but he was still
Yeah,
pretty
older,
like jacked.
but he
Yeah, he
looks like
wasn't.
he's on crack.
Yeah, he was just a lot thinner in
Yeah.
this.
He was
but
funny
hopefully-
though, man. I
hopefully
fucking
he's
love,
okay.
dude. He was a lot more entertaining in this than the entire fucking movie of Tokyo Drift.
Oh, I completely
Well,
agree.
I did not like him in
completely
Tokyo
agree.
Drift. Yeah.
It's because they did the right thing with these characters by turning them into somewhat of a joke, but in not a cruel or mean way. It was more just like there are these dudes that now are turning into like rocket scientists kind of and kind of just being quirky and funny and goofy, but like trying to do cool shit still.
Fucking Twinkie.
Yeah, like it's just one of those things where like they were acting so goofy and Tej and Roman are like, what the hell is happening? Like it was just really funny to see all of them interacting together. And then the fact that it ends with them literally actually having them send them into space.
Yeah.
Which all that comedy wise hit hard for me. I was freaking cracking up laughing at all of that because
She was.
the way they went about Roman and Tej's character, I think in this movie, it was like the perfect kind of buddy cop thing, but it's very much like towards the end of their time as like these high rolling speeder kind of dudes. It's like they're older, they've been through some shit, and they're like, I'm like done with being through this shit. Like the whole movie, Roman's like escaping death. And he's like, I'm tired of this shit. Like, I'm not going to space. This is dumb. Even though he's in the car, in the suit, like clearly going to space, but they're like duct taping each other. And I'm like, this is not how space works. Like, this would not be real.
But then
and then they literally just ram into a satellite. And I turned to Matt and I was like, they just literally like destroyed like billions of dollars.
Yeah.
Like they ran into something that cost billions of dollars.
It also played very well when they finally got to space, and it's like you're just seeing the reflection in Roman's eyes instead of like some big wide shot of space. That was perfect.
It changed him, man, because at some point he has that that scene where he's talking, and then we switch back to the other characters as they're like fighting and like shit's happening. And this movie, you know, he spent the entire time talking about how he's like invincible, and now he's like accepting that, you know what, this might be the end all. This might be what of everything. Yeah, and it was nice. It was
and
cool.
so that's I guess that's what ended up being the payoff to that joke.
Right,
was him kind of having that moment of like, okay, maybe this is it. But I mean, I agree with you. I'd love one of these motherfuckers to die. One of these days, they've gone too far. but as we sit, did have a payoff.
They crashed through a satellite and did not die.
The part that really got me, that made me laugh out loud, that I just fucking, like, I was out of breath, was when all of a sudden the candy wrappers just start, like, fucking floating in the air. I was like, dude, what the fuck is
like, what are you eating, bro?
It literally, it's one of those things, too, where, like, in our theater was packed, too, when we were watching it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I've seen so.
We all laughed at the same parts in the movie, like, the whole theater. And it was always when something beyond ridiculous would happen. Like when John Cena is in a car and is about to be crushed by like that giant bus truck thing.
They were laughing. I would have fucking loved that, man.
He literally slides out of his car and jumps on top of another car. It was so unbelievable that the CGI little version of John Cena didn't even look real.
No,
because it was
I noticed that too. It was such an
unrealistic thing to do.
Yeah.
It was that scene, and also another scene where
I hope you're about to say what I think you are.
Yeah, when like Dom like sees that he's about to fall off, and then he runs into another car to catch his fall.
That too. That's not what I'm thinking of, but yes.
You mean when John Cena is falling and Dom like tail whips another car so that he can just like bounce on it?
Yeah. That looked very
amazing.
Yeah, I love it.
But yeah, it some of that stuff didn't look good, but that just made it funnier. But no, when he's about midway through the movie again, when he's ziplining through London for about 5 fucking minutes. It just does not stop.
He ziplined through the entire city of London.
And no one saw him, by the way, except Dom.
Yeah, and Dom's just going fast enough to keep up with him in between buildings. He's just peeking over and he's like, all right, he's still there.
Man.
There's another scene too.
These movies are wild.
There's another scene that I cracked up laughing at that was ridiculous. And it's when John Cena's fighting like that big old dude on top of a car, on top of that moving truck. And the dude, like John Cena ducks because he sees him and he's about to get hit by the sign.
Just goes right there.
And the sign just goes right through him and he's just fine. And I'm like, that is not like how that would work. Like no human being could be smacked at like 90 miles an hour on top of a car by a metal sign and just like be okay. It's like one of those little running like holes somebody puts through a wall. That's like essentially what that was.
After having this conversation with you guys, y'all know how sometimes they have like multiple genres for like one film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just checking to make sure comedy is not one of these.
No, it was one of those things where like the movie was funny as hell, but it was like also trying to be funny, and I think that's why this one worked. And I think that's why these all continue to work, is because they don't take themselves seriously. Like, if this movie was trying to take itself seriously, it would just be a joke. Like, it would not be something people would, like, actually adore.
Yeah.
But because it doesn't do that, and it actually tries to be funny and lets itself be ridiculous, it works.
I mean, let's be honest. These movies are at the point where they're never going to get bad. I get if some people maybe get, like, this one's better than that one, and that's all fine. But they're so self-aware. And they have rode the high of what they've turned into, like from 4 on, really at 5. But they're about being extreme and ridiculous and making fun of themselves in a tasteful way. And like, is every joke gonna land? No. And is everything gonna be like look incredible? Probably not. But like the movie knows what it is, and the series knows what it is, and I think that's why it's so much fun. And that's why we can go sit in a packed theater and people are laughing at stuff that in another movie would fall flat, or that it's supposed to be serious and it's not. It's like everybody's just here to have fun, and they know what this franchise is. They know the rules it's playing by. You know, that's why even if this one wasn't my favorite, but it was still great. It was exactly what I wanted.
Where
it to
would
be
you
still.
rank it out of like your least
Yeah,
favorite?
I thought we should definitely do that where we like all kind
Yeah.
of just insert it into where we maybe think it fits in.
Mhm.
For
Is
me,
there
mine's a
anything you
little
want to talk
different.
about before we do that?
Hmm?
I don't
can-
know. Did we leave anything out? I'm trying to think. Does anybody have anything else big that they wanted to talk about? We didn't really mention the magnets a lot. All that shit was wild. Again, a lot of it was in the trailers.
Super fucking cool. I don't think
Yeah.
it really made sense if you think about it physics wise.
No.
Because I was trying to like understand.
But I like
Anyways,
that it
no,
really
it's cool.
was all you needed to know about it, even if it wasn't behaving like a magnet is. It's like when you see him crank it one way, it's shooting outwards, and the other way, it's magnetizing everything in. So that led to a lot of interesting stuff. Again, we saw too much of it in the trailers. And
Yeah.
it sucked that was not only the mid part of the movie, but also the end was also involving the magnets. Like, that's cool because I like the magnets, but we saw footage from both of those in the trailer. So again, it was
Yeah.
just so much already kind of ruined. Not ruined, but
Oh.
you know, we kind of knew what it was getting into.
One thing I really enjoyed, and I think it's awesome that they did, was the two different cars Han drives. Their
Yeah.
color scheme was
Was
a
from
nod to
Tokyo, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
really cool.
yeah.
They did.
So
They
those-
played with the cars a lot in this, which
Mhm.
I enjoyed. Like the end car that Dom got, like that matte black car. Oh,
Yeah,
that
that
a
car was
sexy
beautiful.
car.
Which
That
one?
was a-
I'm not remembering.
think it was a-
I don't know the-
Challenger?
I think it was an older Challenger or
Yes,
Charger.
It was an
yeah,
older. It was an older Charger, right?
I believe Charger or
remember.
Challenger. I get those cars. I'm not a car guy
I
at
don't
all.
know the name of
I
the
think
car.
I think it was a
but-
Challenger. The only time he drove a Charger was when they were on the island, like when
Okay,
they
well
first
then
like
yeah, a
beginning of the
Challenger.
movie.
But it was like
an
an older one, but it was like matte black.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was
that thing was
beautiful.
sexy. That
Oh
was
my god,
beautiful.
I love that thing. The other thing before there was like one more ridiculous thing that happened. What? Go ahead and say
No,
it.
after you, there's one more thing I remember, but I'll say that.
So we didn't even talk about it, but like, oh wait. Oh, it's I'm mistaking this. I am adding in things from 7.
What was it
Oh,
though?
God.
I
I'm
want to
thinking of
relive
something
it. What was it?
ridiculous from
Yeah, I
7.
want to know what it was.
When they're
I'm
jumping
thinking of
between
that
buildings?
scene- No, I'm thinking of this scene where
Mm.
he like tail spins and gets like the smoke everywhere, so he can then crash down a building, crash down the side of a mountain.
The mountain, yeah. When they first
Yeah.
get what's her face?
Yeah, that's why I knew I was
Ramsey,
yeah,
yeah.
Ramsey. But what were you gonna say?
Rambo.
Another nod.
Oh man,
That's
I'm
fucked
sorry. Go ahead.
This is why I don't play with you guys anymore. Another nod to Paul Walker at the end of the movie when Dom tells Jacob, at one time in life, someone gave me a second chance, a 10-second car. This
Yeah.
is me giving you your second chance. Everyone deserves that. I thought that was fucking awesome how they
It
brought
was.
that back because they always have like reoccurring themes, even reoccurring lines, like the whole too soon thing. Every time someone's racing,
Yeah,
someone
and-
hits the fucking nitros too soon. It always happens. Like I knew it was gonna
Yeah.
happen in the flashback scene when
Yeah,
they're racing.
he's just waiting for him, dude.
You know it's gonna happen at
Yeah.
this point, but you expect it, and when it happens, you fucking love it, you appreciate it.
Mhm.
So yeah, I just wanted to bring that up.
He always
Yeah, I
goes
agree.
too soon.
Yeah.
He just like whispers it. He's like too soon.
Too
and
soon,
then-
brother.
True.
Now drive
I
away for
love
the
it.
rest of your life.
Forever.
Come back.
All right, I think we should place this in our little ranking somewhere. So I'm gonna start. We'll start with you, Matt, since you were about to start anyway.
Yeah, so I had a little bit of a so when we recorded our ranking of them, I think if y'all remember, I was at I think I was watching 7. I hadn't watched 8 yet since the first time I saw it. So I ranked 8 a little bit lower. Like I actually really, really liked 8. I'm gonna be honest. I think I liked 8 more than this. I think overall as the movie, I think I like the plot of 8 more. And I like that the Rock's in it. I like Jay. I think I overall
Yeah.
I enjoy
Okay.
8 more. I still
Okay.
So I think I'd put this at I'd put it underneath 8. And I got to put it underneath 6 too cuz 6 is so good. So this is beneath 6 and above Too
2 and
Fast.
Tokyo Drift.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's way above them. So yeah, I mean, this is my least favorite of the kind of new era. Like from
Yeah.
5 on,
Okay.
this is the weakest to me. So that's where I'd put it, beneath 6 and above Too Fast, Too Furious. But I still love it. I still love it. It's hard to let me down with these movies now. And I just want
Yeah.
to say I'm really glad that I went in and watched all these before this because I didn't really have a connection to these movies
Yeah.
until a week ago now. And they're really, really fun and good. And I'm glad that I actually kind of feel that now because these movies were always just something I'd go see in theaters when they come out. But I get it. I actually
Glad,
get it
man.
now, and
Yeah.
I enjoyed it
Makes
a
me
lot.
happy.
All right, Ohms.
So I also my rankings kind of changed because last time we talked, I had only seen up to 6, and I had completely forgotten 7. Didn't even know what 8 was about at all. Like I was watching it and just
Yeah,
I was
he's
texting you guys
texting.
constantly.
He's texting us and he's like, this could be 9 for all I know. Like if I didn't know any better, this
I
could
was
have been
blown
9.
away, man. Some surprises in that fucking
Yeah.
movie. So for me now, it's 1, just takes the cake, and then
Mhm.
7 instead of 5. So it's 1, 7, 5. I'm gonna keep 4 in 4th where it's at. After that, though, interestingly enough, I think 9 for me. I think I enjoyed it more than 6 and 8.
Wow.
I definitely agree with you. 8 had a lot of likable characters, The Rock, Shaw, and the plot was definitely a lot more solid. But
Yeah.
there's just some of my favorite moments in the entire saga were in this movie.
The action
So,
in this is better than 8. I agree. I think
Yeah.
everything in this
Yeah.
is cooler.
So
than-
right. So enjoyment wise, I say 9 over 6 and 8, and then the rest is the same order.
What about you, host?
Damn,
I
I
would
thought you were about to say
agree.
something else. But yes,
What about you, Ho?
Were you about to call me a hoe? No,
I
I'm
thought
kidding.
so for a second.
I agree. I would even put it a step further. I'd probably go so like I have 1 and 7 as my top 2, and then I'd put 9.
Wow. I like
That's
it.
awesome. That's awesome. Yeah.
That's how
Yeah.
fucking much I
I was like,
enjoyed that
I know.
movie.
I love that you enjoyed this movie that much.
I was like, you can ask Matt. I was cracking up like
She
that
really was.
entire
That's
freaking
awesome, man. That
movie.
makes me happy. That's cool.
I feel like
was
pretty much everything
so
went with
enjoyable.
Bailey. Yeah.
It was
That's
so freaking enjoyable. So clearly, from the way we've discussed this, I don't know why you would have listened to this before you watched this movie, but
Yeah.
if you haven't watched this movie and you listen to this, we suggest you go watch it because it's
Go
really
watch it.
fun.
It's great.
It's a fun ass movie.
Let me ask you guys real quick. Are y'all excited for 10? Do y'all want 10? Do you guys
Yeah.
not want 10?
Yeah, I'm
I-
don't want it.
more excited for 10 than I somehow even was before this. You know what I mean? Like this
like
movie
it.
feels
I
like it's
agree.
setting up 10. Like we kind of talked about earlier. Like it really feels like this is kind of the calm before the storm. I think things will get
Right.
crazy with
Okay,
there, but
I agree.
But yeah, I'm totally in. I'm
I
glad they're
agree.
making 2 parts. I think make this if this franchise is going out finally, go out on a fucking bang. Like give it
I don't
everything
want the
you've
2
got.
parts. I'll say that. I think it should just be a final movie.
Here's why I
But
want 2 parts.
Well,
Because
wait, I agree with what you're saying though. I'm way more excited about 10 now because I didn't
After
give a
this.
shit about 9 before it came out. I was like, this
Actually,
is
top
I'm-
3. Look
I
at
was
that.
like, I'm just going to do this because all of us want to do it. It's a Thursday night.
be a
Let me get
movie.
a big old box of popcorn and enjoy this. And then I ended up absolutely loving it. So it definitely changed my mind for 10.
I think 10 being a 2-parter gives it room to finally have an ending that isn't sitting around the dinner table and everything's fine. I think because it feels like they're going more the Infinity War Endgame route maybe with something like that, they can have craziness ensue at the end of 10 and it can all be stuff that gets retconned and fixed by the end and it has a happy ending still, but I feel like they can give us kind of that holy shit moment where we go a year talking about the cliffhanger ending that 10 was and we get ready for the finale. So I'm ready
Yep.
for this franchise to do that. I want car superheroes. We also didn't talk about how at the end of this movie Dominic just fucking lands like a Marvel character. He just when
Yeah,
the
he
car
has-
explodes,
Oh,
he
yeah.
just lands in full on
He has the
superhero pose.
landing.
That's
Yep.
what this
I
is
dig it. I
now.
like it.
I love it. I love it.
Are you excited for 10?
Me?
Yeah.
Exactly like you guys said. 9 made me way more excited than I ever expected to be.
Hell yes.
Yeah.
I'm ready for it.
All right, guys.
Let's go, baby.
Well, that was our discussion / review of F9, the Fast Saga. What a shit title. But we loved it anyway. So
What a way to
F9.
end this conversation.
Just
Either
leave it
way.
at F9. F9's a great title.
Yeah.
listen
honestly.
listen to all the other stuff we post. We post fun stuff. We're continuing to do it. Come and join us for Bad Batch and Loki. We'll be back to record movie stuff for Black Widow. So
Ooh,
Can't wait.
everybody better be here and ready to cheer. How lame was that? Someone
Wow.
That was
freaking
great.
turned my
End
mic
it.
off.
Honestly, if you
Turn
didn't
my
even
mic off.
call yourself out, we just would have rolled with it. I mean, that was pretty good.
Either way. Anyway, this has been fun. Now Daddy's got to go to work.